So a new upgrade I've gotten on Days of Clarity, because, I oscillate, is this, like, self-automating, like, thought that comes up anytime I feel, like, self-judgment, like a thought of self-judgment, like, ooh, I, like, look gross, or, like, ooh, I just don't feel good today, or, like, or if I'm, like, or if I feel like, I'm, like, scared of, like, people finding out about me, or, like, judging me, or, like, all this stuff. I have, like, this thought that comes in my head that's like, what if I just didn't give a fuck? And it's, like, been awesome, because I'm like, oh, yeah, good point. I don't have to give a fuck. That's, like, my choice, whether I give a fuck about what people think about me. And this is a big issue for me, right? Because I've had insecurity my entire life. And so it's been a process for me to try to work through this. Because it's a lot of programming that I've been through to, like, really distort, like, how I view myself. And it's been a huge part of getting my self-worth back and my confidence in myself that, like, I am the way that God designed me. That's another part. That's another huge, like, phrase that comes into my mind. I am the way that God designed me. Like, God did not make a mistake with me, so why the fuck am I judging it? Oh, yeah, because these fuckers are telling me to. Or they're subliminally, subconsciously telling me to, indirectly, through, societal conditioning. Again, it's, like, a huge thing in society. Society has so much responsibility in the way that we have been damaged and traumatized, especially for me. I'm, like, learning. It is like my parents, but it's mostly society. It's mostly, like, this system that just has to, like, leave. And so it's been helping me so much. Like, so much coming up. I'm like, oh, I really, like that that's coming up, because it helps me just, like, not give a fuck what people think about me, or, like, stop judging myself, and releasing perfectionism. Because, again, that's, like, a huge thing. I have this huge, because I hold myself to high standards, because, again, like, my trauma, like, like, definitely affected me in a way that, like, has put me in extremes in my life, I feel like. And even the way I heal, I feel like, is a bit extreme. It's, like, it's kind of intense. And that's just because of, like, the life that I've had. So also coming to terms with that. You have to come to terms with, like, who you are. And it's, like, I've always thought I was, like, quiet, like, more reserved person. But that's just my mask. Who I actually am is a very intense person, because I've been through intense things. And so accepting that I'm not normal, or that I'm, like, weird, those types of things, because my mask is that, like, I'm normal, I'm functional in the same ways as people, I think the same ways as people, I do the same things as people, all this stuff. And, like, healing, I've come to realize, like, no, God actually designed me a specific way, very intensely, in a lot of trauma, because that's the type of energy that was going to need to be brought to this kind of situation that we have going on. Like, there had to be an intensity to it, because that's, like, there's, like, an authenticity to the experience that we're having down here is intense for a lot of us. For other people, it's not. And that's, again, just, like, whatever your soul decided to take on down here. And, so I feel like my mindset also around that, like, around myself and protecting my energy and, like, being a former people pleaser, like, I'm going to the intensity, but the opposite of that, which is, like, just not giving a fuck what people think. And going through this experience has also made me realize how much I did give a fuck. Like, more than I realized. I had a lot more, like, deep programming of, like, it's been hard to let go of not needing external validation, or, like, people's, like, opinions about me to affect me at all. Because that's all I did, was let people's opinions of of me, like, let me affect, like, the way that people perceived me and the way that people perceived my energy and and what they told me I was and the narratives and all that stuff. And so it's been very healing. It's been very healing to come to this side of things because it's so freeing. It's like I'm just free. I'm so free from, like, all these thoughts that just weighed me down all my life, of that haunted me that I didn't even realize. Like, and it was all stuff that wasn't even mine to carry. It's all burdens that were not mine to carry that people put onto me that I agreed to take on. So one day I would transmute it. So one day I would come to this realization. I'd wake up and I'd say, hey, actually, I can think a different way. Now, technically I'm going to get punished, right? I've self-punished myself by putting myself in timeout, right? I've had to give up, friendships. I've had to give up my idea of family. I've had to give up my identity in society. I've had to give up my career. I've had to give up a lot of things in order to think differently and be different. And it feels consequential. It feels like punishment because it's not necessarily like you're like alone and then you don't have money and then, you're stressed out about stuff and you're stressed out about people's perceptions of you and like all this stuff. But at the same time, it's like that's just that's a temporary side effect of shifting your identity, is like the discomfort at first. You have to like put yourself through discomfort first before you get to the comfort of like freedom. And that's where I feel like I'm now starting to transition into, is like feeling the comforts of why I put myself through the discomfort. And it's to be free from all these people, because I used to just care so much about what my friends thought. I used to just care so much about what my parents thought. I used to care so much about what everybody thought about me, and I would take it to heart so deeply, and I would believe them, and then that led me on a path of terrible things. And so like that's another reason why I am so analytical, is because I did behaviors that were not in alignment with who I morally was, and I kept doing them, and I couldn't figure out like why I was kept doing these things that didn't align to me, but like I couldn't seem to stop, and I just kept like getting worse, like doing drugs and compromising my morals and being reactively abusive in relationships and being judgmental and all these things that like I just knew were not me. And so I had to like get to the bottom of it. I had to figure out why. There was such a misalignment between who I knew I was and what behaviors I was doing, and then all this like spiritual awakening stuff happened and the answers came, and that's also the crazy part, is like, yeah, how far I've come as a person and how different I am, and how I do feel like this is what I was always meant to do, but I just couldn't believe that this would ever possibly happen, and coming to terms with that too, that like this is a life that I like is kind of like a dream life, but it's also like I could have never possibly imagined this happening, so it's really hard to believe that this is happening, basically, because again, I get visions of the future and it's all good stuff. And so that also feels like scary for me to believe, because anytime like I believe that something is going to go good in my life, like it never did. But again, God has given me an explanation for that. So it's like I have to keep reminding myself, like, look, there's an explanation that God has given me about that, which is that he planned all of this and it's not going to be bad anymore. But that's like, again, been one of the hardest things for me to rewire. It's taken me a year here to try to believe in the good, in the visions I'm getting, in my psychic abilities, in who I am as a person, in that this experience is happening for me, all while trying to just continue to like move towards God. But I do feel so healed and so much better, so much more rational as a person. And that's like invaluable. There's no money that you can put on that feeling of freedom. Seriously, that's what it is. That's like the riches of the earth. It's like finding like peace within yourself finally, after all these years of searching and being confused and feeling sad and lost. And I know so many people feel this. So that's why I share this, because I really hope that it like helps you like find yourself again, like, and remind you that nothing was ever wrong with you.